And I think we are live. So happy Wonder Wednesday, everyone. I'm so sorry we're a couple minutes late again. I guess it's the spring, so everyone is excited and we're all a little bit late. But nevertheless, we're here. So welcome to our weekly event. This is Foxy's community. If this is your first time here with us, we're an international community for women in UX, UI design and Webflow development. And if this is not your first time here, then welcome back. We're so happy to have you with us. And we've been hosting a series of events based on design systems, which is a very hot topic for designers because obviously they're very important. And we usually use Figma to work on our designs. And as you know, there's always new features coming up. So it's really important to stay up to date with all the new releases. And that's why we host these events, to make sure that, we're all, up to date, as I was saying, with all the new features coming up. So very happy to have you here. I can see Penny in the chat, Brandon, Kinsu, some people that I don't know, some people that I do know. Hi, Loren. Hi, Aman. All right, without further ado, let me get into our space. Our guest also just arrived. So let me see. Can you see my Gather Town? Yes, you can. So let's get out of the way and let's join everyone else. Alrighty. We made it. All right. Hi, people. Can you all hear me and see me? Yes, I can see Maria with a party popper. Hi, Maria. Amazing. Anshul, are you here with us? I can see that you have two avatars and I know that you're trying to share your screen. So maybe we always have this kind of technical, I wouldn't say issues because, people just take a minute or two to get used to the Gather if this is the first time they use it, but hopefully it's gonna work very soon. I was just telling the audience that, we've been focusing on design systems this month. And so far we saw what design systems are, why they're useful for designers. And we even learned how to build one from scratch. I think it was last week or the one before. Yeah, last week we looked at auto layout, which is another feature that is really important. And so today we're going to dive into tokens and components, hopefully, if Anshul is ready. But yeah, let me just ask. So if you've been following our events, have you been using design systems? Is that something that you use when you work on your designs? Is it something completely new? I would like to know from the people here, maybe around the table from our Floxys community, but also if you're following us on YouTube and LinkedIn, let me know in the chat because I'm doing back and forth so I can see your comments as well. All right. Hi, Stephanie. It's great to see you. Wasn't Shul here because I had a quick chat with him and he was trying to get another avatar in to share his screen, but I'm not sure. Hi, Maria.
I decided to come back and say, hey.
Hi. It's great to see you as we wait, for the guest. Did you manage to see him? Was he here?
I see a small icon right outside the.
Yeah.
I see a person.
Yeah.
I see an avatar, but.
Yeah, he's trying to share his screen, I think.
The common things with.
Yeah. Also, he was using Firefox, so maybe there's a browser combination of things. But hopefully we'll get started soon. I can see Brandon in the chat. Yes, I'm starting to use them more and more on some longer term or larger projects. Yeah, so one of the things that we noticed when looking at design systems is that, especially if you're working for a big project or a big company, design systems are kind of like the style that you want to be consistent on. And so what's the correspondent on Webflow, Maria? the style sheet. How do you call it on Webflow?
Style guide?
Oh yeah, the style guide. So yeah, basically you're setting up some guidelines to follow, not only for yourself, but especially if you're working on a team. It's important that you set some boundaries and to make sure that you're consistent with your designs. Yeah, I really hope Anshul can make it. But if not, do you use design systems, Maria, now that you're here?
No.
And I know that you like
For me.
I know that you like doing it kind of impromptu designs, on the
No,
go.
to be fair, because I don't design a lot, I build mostly. And I tend to start from I really like my things to be neat and use the minimum amount of classes needed. So in theory, yes, I'm using design systems. I don't build them, but the principles, yeah, I use them.
Mm-hmm.
They help because you already find the issues before. You kind of have to think versions that you might need. So it's a good practice, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think I can share. We looked at a playground last week from Figma itself, because most of our designers here in the community use Figma as a design tool, and so we're very lucky because obviously Figma has an amazing community that keeps sharing amazing content, and so specifically for what we learned about last week, which was auto layout, we had something shared, which was this playground. So if you missed our event last week and you still want to play around with auto layouts, and feel free to check out that link. I'm going to put it in the chat as well for our YouTube and LinkedIn people. But yeah, make sure you play around with it. And if you have any questions, feel free to connect with me or just join our community at Fluxys. We have an active Discord with a forum, so you can always ask your questions. We're very responsive there. Anshul, are you alive?
I just noticed my name here is Alcoriel Maria Webflow. I have no idea why Webflow is in my name.
You know why? Because we hosted an event once and we were using our design and Webflow rooms next door. And so you were offering support. You were one of the supporters.
I don't even remember. Oh my God, what's happening to me?
You've been supporting Webflow, for the longest, Webflow builds for the longest time. Ever since I met you, you've always helped people with, their Webflow projects. So I think you can leave it there. It's part of who you are.
No, I should change it. I don't know, Flux Academy or something now.
Do you want to share the good news publicly?
I'm the new Webflow coach in Flux Academy. So if you're in there, if you want to join, I will supporting you. Me, Joanna, and Francesco.
That's amazing. Yeah, I was so happy to hear this news, and so congratulations to you, Maria.
Yay.
It's one of our definitely success stories. Yeah, so congratulations and well done to Flux Academy for securing such a great coach in their team. I'm very, very happy. All right. Okay, let me see. So Brandon says congratulations from Penny, from Lauren. Amazing. Thank you guys. You're super supportive people. From Liza. It's great to see so many of you in the chat. Feel free to join us on Gather as well if you want. We still have a couple of seats available. And if not, join our Discord because we would love to have you there. Oh, Zara is here as well. Hi Maria, I just enrolled on the web design, becoming a professional. Maybe I'll see you in the Flux community. So that's amazing. All right, Anshul is here because he's chatting. Anshul, are you able to turn your camera on and your mic so maybe we can get started? So he says, here's the Figma presentation. It would be great if everyone can practice along the session. Great. Are you able to jump on camera? Hi, Gabriella.
And are you sharing the Figma file also to YouTube and
Yes,
LinkedIn? Awesome.
I am. Here you go, guys. Feel free to follow along as we get started. I'm assuming this event is gonna go a little bit longer than usual because we're starting a little bit later. Just making sure that Anshul is ready to go. Gabriela, do you have some good news to share with us?
You muted, so I'll say your news. She's coming to meet me in Milan.
Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of Webflow meetups going on. Tomorrow, there's a big one in London. So I'm looking forward to seeing many people there and lots of Floxies there as well. And when are you meeting, Maria? When's
The 1st of April.
1st of
We'll be in
April?
Milan. I don't know exactly what we're doing. If someone wants to join us, message me, Gabriela. I don't know who else will be. It's not many of us, but if you want to come, tell us so we know we reserve enough space. Because Milan on a Saturday. But it'll be fun, relaxed. Maybe have a drink, an aperitivo. For
Yeah.
sure, an aperitivo. You're still muted, love.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry. I was saying, actually, I'm looking forward to Starbucks. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Italians, man, they will
Because we don't have it
disappoint you.
here. Milan is the only thing.
I had Starbucks once when it opened in Greece like 15 years ago, and like never again.
All right, let's see. I think Anshul, can you hear me? Or maybe not. We're having technical issues today, people.
Oh, we're catching up. It's okay.
Oh, look, he's now appeared in the cafe. He's coming.
Come on.
Come on, Anshul. You can do it.
We're cheering for you.
Oh, down. We're here. Yay! Finally.
I was waiting for you guys. I didn't know how to actually operate this. I'm new to this, yeah.
Awesome. Well, you're here. You can see us. You can hear us. We can see you. And we can hear you at last. So it's very exciting to have you here with us today, Anshul. Thank you for making the time, and thank you for sorry about all the troubleshooting you had to do. But finally, at last, we can get started. So would you like to give us a little bit of an introduction on who you are? I know that you're a Figma expert, a design generalist. What does that even mean? Maybe you can tell us.
Sure. First of all, I'm super excited to do this. I had my last session somewhere around back in 2019 where I shared my experience in Photoshop, and at that time I just got into Figma. So yeah, a bit nervous as well. Obviously, it's been some quite time, where I'm expressing my knowledge and myself and being out there, right? Talking about myself, I'm running a design and marketing agency here in Gurgaon, Haryana, in India, and it's been 3 years. I've been running my agency. Before that, I was into design field itself for around 2 years. So I have in total of 5 years of experience in designing. Uh, Apart from that, I believe that you know my company's name. It's Minimal Tweaks, and we tweak brands digitally so that they can grow and they can prosper in the digital space and grow their business eventually. So we have done with businesses. We have done projects with quite big brands. I'm not sure if you're aware of Myntra, Axis Bank. These are some Indian giants in in apparel and banking sectors. Apart from that, I've shared this link with a lot of people. I have a lot of supporters like in my house, in my my friends. I think everyone will be joining in, though they have no interest in designing, but yeah, they'll
That's
they'll
funny.
definitely join.
That's fine. We're all cheering for you, obviously. I was reading a tweet today from another community manager that was like, "Hey, do you remember, when we used to do our events and maybe nobody showed up?" And I remembered, when I first started doing these events and these live sessions, it was me, the amazing girls here at Floxy's community. But then I would look at the audience and it would be like 2, 3 people, and chances are they were my family. So I'd be like, "Hi everyone," aka mom, dad, sister. But now, we've grown, we've grown a bit more, and so I'm super happy to see so many supporters and people in the chat following our events every week.
I'm glad you kept going. Like, obviously, in initial days, it's very hard to actually, continue this. Like, your family is your only cheerleaders, right? So it's great. It's great to see you. Definitely love the initiative that you are, you have took, and you are actually, like the knowledge. Like, I believe that it's very hard to attain. Like, only curious mind can actually, maybe attain the best knowledge. And if people are active in community, that shows that they are curious enough to actually put in some extra work, so put in some extra effort to gain some extra knowledge, right? So yeah, glad to be here. Like, I'll say this again and again, right? And I hope this community grows like multi-folds, right? Like in coming years.
Hopefully, that's the plan. That's the plan. All right, are you able to share your screen, or I'm a little bit scared of asking that question.
Let me see. I think, yeah.
Hi, Zara. Oh, it's great to see people around the table once again. Oh yeah, I can see your screen. Awesome. And people in the audience, we shared the link to the Figma file, so this is going to be an interactive event. Feel free to follow along, and if you have any questions at any time, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll make sure I'll feed them to our speaker.
Before we start, like, I personally believe that when you are into learning, it's not just about listening, it's not just about communication, it's not just about absorbing things through reading or listening to stuff, right? You cannot learn or maybe get good understanding of anything without getting your hands dirty, right? That's why I've shared the Figma link. As we move along, we have some space in the presentation itself where you can maybe try it yourself, create some components. We'll try to create the variants. I believe we have plenty of time, so there is no hurry to that we have to wrap this up within an hour itself. So take your time, try to figure out like whatever I'm going to share. Obviously, like Claudia can share across the questions and everything. We can take them up one by one, right?
Sure, 100%.
Okay, shall we start?
Let's go. Let's go for it.
Perfect. One more thing about Figma. Like, Figma is the easiest tool if you are actually looking at it from a UI and UX point of view. Earlier, when I started, people used to use Sketch. There were some people used to use Photoshop as well, right? And I'm not sure if they are using it currently or not, but there were people who were using Illustrator and different stuffs to get the UI UX done, right? Today, if I talk about Figma, I'm pretty much sure that you guys are pretty much aware about the layout of the Figma. It's super neat, it's super minimal. There are only few, I would say, tools that are used to create huge and scalable systems, right? Okay, so getting into design system, talking about design system, if we break these two things, obviously we all know what design is, right? If we define design system, we can obviously go through by the definition, but I'll try to give you a more different opinion on that. Whenever we create anything, it's obviously it's built up of multiple small things. It's built up of different elements combined together, and something big has created out of that. It could be anything. If you talk about human body, if you talk about automobile, car, whatever it is, right? So we have those small ingredients or small elements which are very crucial to create something large. System, if we define system is something when you give some input to the system, the result out of the system is something very unique. Not unique in a way, it's kind of productive. It's kind of a result which you cannot create in such a short span of time, or it might require a lot of hard work to create that particular output, right? That's why we create systems, so we can give A as an input and we can get B as an output in a short period of time with less effort, right? Coming to the design system also speaks the same. Like whenever you try to interact with the design system, the output should be consistent. The output should align well with the brand image, or maybe like, let's suppose we are creating an application, right? It should be consistent with other elements that are there in the application. On top of it, when it comes to scalability, you can only scale when your systems are in place, not in design. It's in your real life, it's in your it's in business as well. If we talk about in real life, we can only grow if we set some processes. If we set some processes which and we follow it in a very disciplined and a determined manner, right? Then only we can grow, or maybe excel in whatever we want to do. Same goes with design system. Design system In design system, we define different components, we define different elements, we define all kind of property that can be used in a design, because of which it makes super easy to make the particular design scalable. It makes the effort reduces, I think, like multifold, just because of having a design system in place. Like you obviously don't need to figure out what buttons to use, what typography to use, if this is the use case, what color we should be going ahead with. So in design system, we try to define each and everything that can be used. Obviously we have some edge cases as well. We have some uh, I would say, if we talk about the whole system, that includes typography defining, that include color styles, that even define your spacing and stuff. If I'm not missing out, that define different components. Components can be, built of different set of elements, where we can, have different small elements like text, images, colors, and stuff, and create a small component. Okay, I think that was pretty much clear. If anyone has any doubt, then obviously they can drop a message on chat.
Yeah,
Moving forward.
100%. Also, because Anshul, we've been focusing for a whole month on design systems, because as I was saying, there is such an important foundation for designers to learn about. It's very easy to just jump on a Figma file and start designing, but if you want to do it properly, it's good to know that there are these resources, there are these techniques that can take your designs to the next level.
Absolutely, absolutely. Moving forward, like I said, any system is made up of small elements. Small elements come together to create something big, right? That's why the basic thing about a design system is a component. Component is something that you define once and you use it in multiple places. So that, let's suppose you created a button, like we have a button over here. Like if we can use it in on boarding process, we can use it on the maybe the checkout page, we can use it on the maybe any kind of a product page. Defining a component will obviously help us make it consistent throughout different pages, right? So let's talk about how to first define this particular component. Component can be anything. It's not just a button. It can be your image style. A component can be your color style. A component, it actually consists of like whatever you want. You can actually create it as a component. Even if we see this, right, this is also a component. Like if we scroll down, zoom back. If I show you something, if you see, this is a component. I'll definitely talk about what different type of component these are. But if you see, this one is different from this one, right? This is slightly purplish, right? We will be getting into how to create a component and what this actually means. Okay. Okay. If you see this one closely, I hope everyone is familiar with auto layout. Kirti had a
Yes,
pretty
we did it
great
last.
session last.
We did it last
Yeah.
week with Kirti, and she, by the way, she says hi.
Hello. Hi. Hi. So yeah. So this button is actually used creating auto layout itself. How do we do that? We create a text. Let's suppose we write button itself and shift A. It will be. Oh, sorry for that. Yeah. So now we have a button. Now we can have a fill underneath that. So now this is a button. Obviously not well defined. I won't be getting into basic. What should be the spacing? What should be the, we can have radius, all those stuff. We'll just talk about the basics, right? How to define a component. Okay. So we have created a button just using our auto layout. To create this as a component, we have some shortcuts. For Windows, it's Alt plus Control plus K. For Mac, we have Option plus Command plus K. If you are not familiar with the, I would say the shortcuts, or maybe your muscle memory is not, grown enough right now, we can go here and we can click on this particular button. So it's a diamond kind of a button having a segregated rectangles, right? So I'll press undo. So this is a button. You see this, like it says frame 15, whatever it is, it's just a random name. And this is an auto layout sign. As soon as we click it, or maybe, use shortcut keys, it changes to a diamond structure, right? Now, this is a component, right? Like I said, component is something that we can define and we can use multiple times. Let's suppose I have, created this component, right? If I duplicate this, by the way, I'm doing this by holding Alt, or in Mac, it's Option. Uh, so this created an instance of that particular component, or we can say a mirror image of the component, right? If we see on the layer panel as well, so this as a hollow diamond shape, right? So this shape, where what we can see here, it's a component, this one, and this one is the instance of that, right? If we change anything on this one, let's suppose we change this color, the instance also get the same properties. Okay. I'll delete this one. If anyone want, they can create their own component on this particular file. Like, oh, sorry, you guys have different file, so you guys can hop onto that one. Yeah, moving on. I'll remove this. If we go by the definition, though I'm not very big fan of definition because I'm a self-taught designer, I've learned everything by doing. So, but still, let's go through the definition. It says components are elements you can reuse across your design, help to create and manage consistent design across projects, which I've already told you. These could be a whole range of things like button, icons, layout, whatever you feel like. You can use this within a single file, or you can use them library to share components and style across the file project. We'll get into this, how we create libraries, how we share it with other people, right? Yeah, we have discussed about there are two aspects of it, main component and the instance. Okay, so now Figma has given us a additional feature, I would say, or maybe we are taking a component to the next step, where you can, let's suppose you have created multiple buttons, right? Or let's suppose you have created multiple rectangles. Let's not create buttons every now and then. Will take a lot of time. Okay, so we have these rectangles, right? We can define them as a component, right? This is defined as a component. What if we want to create all of these component at once without even selecting one and clicking on that component button, selecting another and clicking on that one? Then we'll select everything. Whenever you select multiple elements, you see there's a drop down icon pops up. Before that, it was not there. As soon as I select it, there is, oh, sorry. As soon as I, select multiple objects, it shows me a drop down. So by clicking on the drop down, we get three options. First is the create component. If we click on the create component, Figma will understand these three objects are within us, are a part of a single component. So that will, so this is a single component. So this is not making an individual as a different component. Rather than that, it's creating this as a whole, a single component, right? We cannot actually use this single rectangular out of this, as this is defined as a single component. But we don't want to do this. We want to define different components. Okay, I've selected these, I've created create component set. Oh, sorry, create multiple components. Now, what it becomes, this is a component, this is another component, this is another component. You can have this component as well. You can have this component as well. You can change this color to this one. Okay, yeah, and this one can be changed to maybe a darker red, right? So this is the instance of this one. This is the instance of this one. So this is a small process where we can actually define multiple components. This come handy when you create multiple buttons. It's actually easy to create, multiple buttons one go, select them all, and define as them a different components, right? So this was practice, something that we used to do earlier before variants come in. So variants is something, if you define a component, like this is a component, right? If you see there is plus button inside a diamond, hollow diamond, we can see a plus button and it says add variant, right? If we click on this one, so this creates another variation of this particular component. So this is the I would say the whole component set boundings, in which we have two different buttons, though they are considered as a single component. Let me tell you what does that mean exactly. If I copy this and paste it somewhere else,
I like your color palette, by the way. It's very
it's very
fluxies.
Yeah. So yeah, so it says now we have a button, right? The instance name is button itself, right? As we can see, this is not getting, let me break down everything. I use it as a layout, but I don't think so it's helping me anyway. Okay, everything is in layout. Okay, so we can have this here, we can have this here, and this goes here. Okay. So now we have this a button. Its name is button itself because it's a part of a component set which name is button. If we want to use, let's change this color to maybe something else, right? It's a dark. So now we have option over here where we can choose between these two within this one itself. If I click on this one, here we can see it says properties, it says default. Obviously, we need to name these as well, but just for the understanding of your variants, how variants work, how we create variants, I'm not changing the names as of now. We'll do that. We'll create a small button system at the end of this whole thing. Okay. So now if I change this to variant 2, right, it changes its color, right? So what this means is that you can have different style of a single component, right? That means you are clubbing all the similar components within one component set, and you can define it by the property as we have seen it here itself, right? Oh, God. Yeah, here we say it says property 1, as we haven't defined what property it is. It's just changing the color, right? So property 1 says default, we can change this to variant 2. So basis on the properties, we can define different style of we can define the component set styles. Okay.
Is everything clear until now? Like, let us know if you have any questions, if the pace is going well. All right, I can see Zara's thumbs up. Awesome. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Perfect. Moving on. So I was talking about, like, before variant, how things were used to be, right? Like, let's suppose we defined a button. Just a disclaimer, I got this file from Figma community itself, not the whole file, just the representation of like however it is. I've had tweaks, few things, used the color of floxies, just so to make it a bit relevant to all the community members and whomsoever is watching it. Okay, so moving on, before variants were there, we used to define components as an individual components, right? As we can see, like this is a button, we have defined as button as a default, right? This one is defined as a button as a hover, button, the press state, button in a disabled state. So we have different state of button and we have defined them as a different components, right? But when variants came in, what we can do, we can define these all buttons under single component set. This will help us, create different variation of the components in a very quickly manner. As you can see, we can, swap it from different variants from the right side of the toolbar, right? Earlier, it used to be you have to copy it from your, main frame wherever or the components are. You have to paste it. You cannot, if you want to swap it with another thing or maybe disable the icon, you have to go back there again and you have to, come back to your designing screen. I hope everyone is familiar that when we, create something like design system or when we create an application that is of a huge size, then we have different pages as well. We utilizes these pages over here, right? Like it says presentation. We have components also over here where I have defined these things. I have defined the shortcut keys. I thought that we might be using more of these, dialog boxes in other places, but I don't think I have used it. So pardon me for that. So yeah. So what we used to do, we have a design system kind of a page where we define all the components. Then we have, you can say, onboarding page where we have all the onboarding screens. There we can have a product page where all the products page, so on and so forth. We categorize things. Everything should be structured, and that is very important when you are focusing on the scale. Design system always focused on the scale. It's not about just creating 4 pages of website. It's more of a creating an application that might have more than 100 or 200 screens, right? Okay. Again, I'll read the definition that's written here. Variant let you take individual component and combine them as variant with one overarching component set. This can help make component easier to find in asset panel, simple to use, improve discovery of variation, more aligned with the code. We'll not get into the code part. I believe that this is the basic of design system. So, getting into code might get a bit tricky. Here's a small tip. Like you can use auto layout to organize variants. I think we occurred a problem over here when if I do this, it automatically adds with the proper sizing. But if I do this, okay, if I do this, so this is something I press hold alt and I dragged it, right, just to duplicate it. But this doesn't look good, right? What we can do, we can select the whole component set. We can press Shift A, and this will automatically take the space, whatever you guys set the values on. Okay. So this is a small tip that we generally do it in our design system. Like we designers are very particular about alignment. We are very particular about spacing. Things should not look cluttered. So just to take these things in mind, we can use auto layout.
Can you show us how you created the variant again from the bright pink to the dark pink?
Sure. What I'll do.
A personal question. I'm a selfish host.
I would say, Claudia, are you on this page? Oh, you are here. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay.
That's
you have created this button, right?
Yeah.
You haven't defined it as a component yet.
Okay.
Let's define that first. Okay. You can use Alt Shift A or maybe the button on top, right? Now this, whenever you click on any component, it gives you that option. You can create multiple variants. Just go onto the top of the screen where you can see that add variant. Yeah, nice. This created the variant. So basically, like I said, why we create variants? We create variants to tweak in the properties or maybe some design language. Like this uses a blue color. This one can use a different color altogether. This one can go and have a different sort of a font itself. Like we can do whatever we want, right? We can tweak all the properties. It doesn't mean that it's a part of a component set. It cannot have different values. It can have anything you want, right? But it will be the part of the component set, right? We will be discussing about this when we'll create a small button system. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay,
thank you.
Moving back
I missed
to
that step.
No worries. Okay, moving on. Something went wrong.
I'm glad that people are having fun in the chat.
That's great. That's great. I might crack some jokes in between. Um, uh, like I love doing that. So like right now it's pretty basic, so I cannot think of anything as of now. But
Nah, don't
I'll
worry,
try to
don't
do it.
worry. I think we crashed it today as we were waiting for you. I didn't. I was ready to start juggling in the meantime.
I had pretty hard time getting on the gather. I haven't used it earlier, right? So yeah, getting into the component properties, right? So until now we have learned how to define a component, what are the instances, what are the variants. Just to give you a heads up, instances are the mirror image of the component, whereas variants are the, you can say, different style of a particular component, right? So when we have component properties, right, there are only three type of properties. Uh, a new one came in, but it's not a property. I'll talk about that as well later. So talking about this one, so we have three component properties, in which first one is Boolean property, which helps you toggle between the visibility of a particular element. Let's suppose we have this button right over here. I'm not sure if no, this is not defined as a, yeah, we have this button, right? If I create this as a component, okay, and right now there's no variant in it, but we can create a variant as well. Let's suppose we give this property name as a button type, okay, and if we click on this variant 2, we can rename that as well, right? So this could be without the logo, okay. Sorry, I'm should not be doing this, but okay, that works. So I can remove the logo, right? This is without the logo, this is with the logo, okay? So these are two different variants, okay? What I can do, I can even define whether I want this particular button. Let me differentiate this one. This is red color button and this is a, let's say, blue color button, okay? And we can say, let's say this is red one. And instead of type, just to make it easier, let's write it color. Okay. And we can define this instead of default, we can go ahead with blue one, right? So now if I create the instance of this one, right, I cannot see any property on the side, right? Apart from this one where we can actually switch between the two variations, right? One is red and one is blue, right? So this is one type of property, right? That is color property. Okay, let's define this instance. This is just an element. Don't consider this as an instant as of now. What we can do now, we have to apply this Boolean property. If you go on this layer section of the right side of the panel, right, you can see there's a small button. There is an arrow going in between that hollow diamond shape, and it says create Boolean property. If I click on this one, it asks me what should be the property name and what should be its value. As it's a Boolean property, it can only hold true or false. Okay, I'll say show icon / heart. It's taking name already. Show is something that comes up automatically when you choose Boolean property. As you know, it toggles between the layer visibility. Show already comes up and it takes up the layer's name. So layer's name was already icon / heart. If we create this property, now when we click on this one, right, now we can see we have a toggle button over here. Earlier we just had a color which talked about like we can go ahead with blue or red, but now red doesn't have a toggle button because red doesn't have this element. I think it got a bit complicated. Let me go back. Okay, so what we can do, we can toggle between the visibility of that heart. Okay, so we can switch it off, it's gone. We switched it on, it's right here, right? We can different like red one doesn't have the buttons, so that's why that property doesn't show up. Okay, is this clear or did I
Yeah,
complex it?
Zara says complicated but so cool. Zara, do you want to give it a go? Do you want to try on the Figma file?
Hop on, we can try it.
Let's
It
do
will be
it.
much
Let's do
easier.
it live, because it's so that it sticks in your memory forever.
Wow, I feel under pressure. Okay. So I was watching on the Gather, so I'm now gonna try and familiarize myself with
We
the
can do step by step. We can do it slowly.
but Ansha, I clicked on your mouse, like
You're
your
here, right?
icon avatar. So yeah, so I'm following you.
Okay, that's it. What I'll do, I'll just take it out of the frame. Obviously, it's not needed, but let's take it. First, I'll create it as a component. Okay, I created it as a component. I'll open up the property panel as well. What I'll do, I'll define this element, right? We have this heart, we have this button as well. The text, we could say this is a label. So what I'll do, I'll click on this art. I'll go to the layer panel on the right side. There it says create Boolean property. Can you see my screen? Can you see my pointer?
Sorry, one sec.
Just switch back to the gather, yeah, or maybe wherever you are seeing the live, just switch back to that screen and quickly show you where is
on
it.
the Gather. Yeah, I'm on the Gather.
Perfect. Okay, so can you see my screen, pointer?
It says create Boolean property on the layer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, should I click it now, or are you gonna click
Yeah,
it?
please. No, you can click it. Once you click it, you'll get a pop-up where you have to define the name of the property and the value of the property. Like I said, it's a Boolean property. It can only hold true and false, nothing else. Is it not done yet?
Have you clicked on the create Boolean property?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm on edit Boolean property. Should I give it a name?
Yeah, you can give any name to the property just to be more on the safer side. Try to always mention the name which specify the the property. Like it says show it. You can show it or you can hide it, right? So it's better to we write show and we can write icon as well.
Okay. Did it work?
Nope. Just come back together. Let's do it together. I think we can figure this out. Okay? No worries. We can do it, I think.
I think
Okay,
it's good
so
to
can you
do
see
it
my-
step by step, so we can, because also I need to, yeah. Let's see.
Let's create another button. Like
All right.
let's delete these. Okay. So these are this is just a button using a auto layout, right? We have an icon, we have a text written in it. That's it, nothing else. Now we'll create a component out of it. Okay. How we can do that? Control Alt plus K. Now it's changed its color to purple. I think you got a
Yeah, I'm
another
following as
component.
well. Yeah.
That's great. So here is another component like which Claudia bringing, right? Now what we can do, we can select any element of that particular component. Like this is an element, the heart is an element, the icon is an element, the button itself is an element. It could be text element, it could be an image, whatever we want, right? If you click on this heart button, right? If you want to trigger the Boolean property, right? We'll go on the right panel. Can you see this layer panel where it says create Boolean property?
Yeah.
We have to select the heart, then we have to click on that. Like we can create properties for particular elements, not for the whole component.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, now
Are
I
you
can see
following?
create component property, name and value. I get a pop-up.
Yeah. That's great. If you want, you can rename it, or you can just directly,
And
just
should I
click on
leave the
create.
value as true?
Yeah.
All right.
Generally, we always, leave it whenever we create a component as true itself, we don't make it false, because whenever we create that instance, right, whenever we create it, maybe to copy it somewhere else, we should be knowing that it contains an icon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is it done?
Yep.
Yeah, I can see is it done. So, okay. So now you have given the property name as a Boolean, right? We should not be doing that, because if you see just left of the Boolean, there is an I symbol, right? That in itself signifies that, it's a hide and show property.
Where do I see that?
Okay, come back
I can
together.
no, I'm looking at your gather here and I'm looking at my
Acha,
screen.
that's great. That's
So
great.
your
See here, like,
properties, how do I get to properties? Let me see. Oh yeah, I can see it now. Yeah.
yeah. Now you have changed the name to show and heart emoji, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So like this means that we can show that heart emoji, right? Now, when we create the instance of this particular component, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we can see we have a toggle button on the right. Can you see that?
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Close it. Yeah.
Yay. Awesome.
I think Zara didn't follow. That's why she's,
No, I think she is. She's good. She's good.
she, yeah, we
Yes,
can do it
yeah,
again
yeah.
if
My
you
mind
guys
is
want.
It's helpful to have,
it's taking time.
it's
It's
helpful
blown.
because
My mind is blown.
I have two screens, so it's easier for me. But yeah,
Yeah, I understand.
it's fine. We'll do it tomorrow, Zara, when we meet up.
Okay, moving on. Talking about this Boolean property, you can actually apply this property to whatever element you want, right? You can like it's a basic common sense. You can hide and show anything you want in your component, right? Like if you want, you can create this Boolean property for this particular text as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you want, you can hide it. You can just have a heart in your button, right? This can be also done. If you have anything else as well, you can do that, right? You can hide or show anything you want. It's just that you cannot hide and show the complete variant because that's not how things are. Just if you want to hide and show, directly delete that particular component. Sorry, instance from wherever it is. Okay.
Perfect.
Oh, that's great. Perfect. So I think Boolean property is clear for now.
Yeah,
Like
I think
obviously
so.
you need to try these things on your own, then only you'll get better understanding.
Yeah, feel free
Uh,
to feel free to use the Figma file. Don't be shy. Just it's our playground. It's our opportunity to learn all these things. So no worries. There's no mistakes.
I believe it's a very first time, and even if we are understanding this, that what does Boolean property means, na, that's more than enough. You guys can smart enough to figure this out when you hop on, or maybe when you use Figma a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, moving on to the next property, which this is a property which I felt is a useless addition, but like in a recent time I realized, yeah, it makes sense, right? Now we have a text property. Wherever you have written text, right? So just going back to the Boolean property can be applied to any element of the component, right? Now coming back to the text property, like the name suggests, it can only apply to the text of the any component. If we click on button, right? Like we have to again create a component out of it. Now we'll select the button. When we select the button, right, under the text section where we define all the properties of a text, you can see content, and again you can see on the right the same icon which we pressed while we were creating Boolean property to create a text property. It says, can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if we click that, it says what's the name of the text. Let's make it label. Okay, and it says button, right? I have created it. Now once I'll make the instance of this, okay, now I can see I'm getting an option on the right side. Just against the label, it's written button. Now I can change the text from the right panel itself. Let's give a name like Zara itself, right? So yeah, name change to Zara from the right side, right? So it's so cool that you don't even have to touch your elements to change the content of the particular element, right? This come handy when you want to change content for a multiple buttons, right? Let's suppose we have another element and it says Anshul, right? And if you want to change the content of both the properties together, then I think, oh sorry, yeah, if you want to change both the text together, we can simply select the instances, and we can it's on the right side it's written mixed. As we have different properties, we can simply write Figma, and it will be updated to both the buttons, right? So this is the power of the using it, the text property. Eventually, when I didn't encounter this changing for the multiple buttons at once, I thought this was a useless property because you can simply click, you can hold command and click on a text and you can simply change it, right? But sometimes it's not very much feasible for a developer to do that because they might not be aware of that command button. I hope everyone is familiar with that. If you can hold command, you can directly select the element you are hovering on. Yeah, instead of going through the parent till the end, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is the text property that we were talking about. The next property, this one is a bit tricky one, like the Boolean and text one was a bit basic one. Now this is, okay, I messed it up a bit here. Okay, so this is a swap instance property. If I talk about instances, right, I hope you understand what, if we are just duplicating this, we are creating the instance of this particular component, right?
Yeah, it's like the child,
Now,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a child of the parent component, right? So now let's suppose I have a whole, I'll give you an example. I have it in here itself. If we go to this one, like these are all the components. If you see, this is a component. Everyone can see that, right? Okay. So if I duplicate this one, so this created an instance, right? This created an instance. Now I can swap the instances, right? Right now, if I see, there is only single component. If I talk about this, there's not a component set, it's a set of different components. So what I'll do, I'll detach this, I'll create a different component. Let's read this one. So this is a single component. Let's create a variation. You cannot swap between the instances if you don't have variation in a particular component set, because a component set consists of variation and you can swap between the instances only of that particular component set. Okay, while that being said, let's do this. If we, duplicate this one, if we create a variant of this one, so we have this, what we can do, we can, make it this. So we have two different variation, right? We have two different variation of a particular component, right? If we have it over here, right? So this is basically, this is basically an instance of this component set, right? Now what I have to do, obviously I can, change this from here itself. Okay, it's not changing as, okay, not sure what went wrong. We have default, we have variant. Not sure what went wrong on this one. Let's come back to this one. So basically what we are doing, we need to, change this icon to a different icon. This is somewhere, let's define this as a component. Let's define this as you can see, this is the, okay. I'm really sorry, guys.
What's going on?
I got confused myself.
No worries.
So,
slow down.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do that. So basically, we have to create this one as a component, right? Okay. We'll use this component instance on this one. Okay. So here we have an instance of this particular component. Okay. Now what we can do, we can create this as a component, okay, which has a instance of a different component within it. Now what we can do, we can define this, we can give this as a property of swap instance, right? If you go on to the right side, there it says create instance swap property. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is coming just because we have used an instance of a different component. If we create that, right, it says the name is instance. Let's write the name as icon. The value is hard, right? And that it's picking up from this here itself. It says icon slash hard, right?
Yeah.
So that's value it's picking up, right? Now, if I create the instance of this one, now what I can do with the help of that. Okay. Now what I can do with the help of that instance swap property, I can click on this icon. I can see there is on the right side, there is a drop down. On the top, it says swap instance. We have icon, we have heart under it. If we go back, so it's basically fetching all the components within the local file, right? If we go back, we can change it to maybe something. Let's give it a. Let's give it a star. So now, right now, we cannot see the star because star is sorry, this is the arrow on the right side. So now this is a black color. The component which, I fetched it from, it was in white color, right? So basically what I'm doing, I'm swapping this particular instance with another instance, right? So any component can be swapped with this one. I know I made this a bit complicated. I'll again,
No, I think it makes sense. It's just a little bit like a variant. It's just, do you find this to be really useful when you're designing, or yeah?
Definitely. Let me tell you that one. Like if you see this one, right? We have already defined some components, right? We have a logo pack. We have this. Right now it's saying instance as we have copied it from there. But this is a component. This is a different component. This is my icon pack, right? If I define on the button, right, that I can swap this icon, right? I can swap this icon with these one, right? Then it will get very handy for me whenever I create any instance. I'll get a drop down on the right side that we can, change it and, maybe use a filled heart or maybe a star or maybe a chevron or maybe a arrow that is pointing on the right. So from the right panel itself, I can just swap it, right? I can choose from the list of the icons and I can swap it very easily instead of copying it from my whole icon system, right? So that's how it is, right? Obviously, it is a bit complicated thing. I'll go through it again, how we need to do it. So the first thing, whatever we have to, swap, right? We have to create its component. Right now, it's not here. What I'll do, I'll create its component. I'll use its instance on this button itself. Okay, so let's remove that one, which was just a common element. So you can see this is, a purple color. Bounding box is a purple color. So that means this is an instance of this icon, right? Now I create this button as a component. So, but a component holds a instance. That's only when we can actually swap it with different, instances. Okay. So I'll create a component. Now what I'll do, I'll select this particular, element, which was an instance of a different component. I'll create a instance swap property. Okay. So this says instance. Now I can change it to icon. I have heart over here and I've created it, right? Now, if we do this, now we can see we have heart. Right now, like this heart doesn't have any variation. That's why it's not populating over here. But we can go back one step and see all the components which are defined in this particular system. Here are different, if you are following on my screen, you can see like it says expand right light, expand right, expand left light, right? Everyone is of their different color. White color. That's why we cannot see it. But I hope you get my point, right?
All of those components are coming from the library that you're using, right?
Yeah. All the components are coming from this file itself. I have defined the components here itself.
Okay.
If you see in this one, this is a component, right?
Yeah.
So I am fetching this component onto my that button, which one we are talking about, right? We were working on actually this one. So we got this element from there itself.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
good. I think it's so powerful, when we finally master auto layout and components together, because it might look as if it's very time consuming, and it feels as if it is. But I can see the benefits, especially if you're working on a massive design and you have to do a little change that reproduces itself on many pages. So yeah.
I believe
Yes.
this is a bit complex. Obviously, the preparing a design system is a very complex thing. Like, trust me, like discussing about these properties, I might not be able to, maybe explain it properly. But if we are, this is something a bit complex. When we'll move to tokens now, tokens are basically the advanced level of the whole design system, right? It's not that easy to figure out like how
We
tokens
like
work, like
it.
what
We
even
like
tokens
it. We don't like it easy. It's fine. It's good.
are. So yeah, so these are the three properties that we uses when it comes to components, and it's definitely comes very handy. Like, I believe that by the end of this presentation, when we'll go through the when we'll do the exercise, when we'll create the whole button by ourselves, right, then it will make much more sense for us to understand what we are doing right now.
Perfect. Yeah, grab your teas, everyone. Today's a long one. And by the way, Anshul, your presentation is absolutely amazing. So I think you're explaining it very clearly, so you don't have to worry about that.
Like I said, I'm doing it like after a couple of years, or not sure like how
You're
it's
doing
going.
great. You're doing great. I love it. And I can see the comments in our chat. They're saying, "Oh, this is so insightful." Yeah, people are very happy. So keep going.
Most of them might be my family members and friends.
Your family and my family. That's good.
That's sweet. Okay, so moving on, we already have created this where we have defined all the properties, right? Okay. Okay, we haven't defined any properties actually. Okay, I'll define it just in front of you. I'll help you understand where we are applying boolean, where we are applying text, where we are applying instance swap. Okay, if we see this heart, I believe this heart, yeah, this heart is an instance of a different component that says favorite fill, right? So I can easily create a boolean, a swap instance property for this. You can create swap instance property for only the instances. Okay, I I'll say it as a fav icon. Okay. Okay. I've created this fav icon property. On top of it, like I said, you can apply Boolean property to any element of the component, right? So what I'll do, I'll go here, I'll add a Boolean property to this as well. So it says show favorite fill, right? I've created this property. Okay. Like I said, text can have only text property. I'll define this as well as a text property. So I'll give this as a title. Okay. Boolean property can also be applied to this one. I'll apply that. Create a new property and I'll write show title. Okay. Moving on to the description, I'll do that. I'll quickly do this everything. If you guys want, you guys can also, do this alongside with me. Obviously, in case you encounter any problem. Okay.
Yeah, we'll let you know. I'm thinking, Anshul,
Yeah.
would you be able to come back again to do the tokens? Like if we break this session in two, because I'm just aware of time and I don't know if people are, able to stay for much longer. But after we finish with the components, how about we stop there and do the tokens on another session?
Yeah, we can do that. We can
Yeah?
do that. Yeah, we can do that. I believe like components are almost done. Like this will just help you understand like how we are utilizing these properties.
Yeah.
That's it. This exposed nested instance is in beta right now, but it's of super helpful, I would say. But like we can skip this one for now. This is
No,
just
we can finish up. We can do, all the components. You can finish with all the remaining slides, because I would rather do them properly rather than rushing them up to do the tokens. We can do the tokens on another Wednesday.
No worries. Sure. Okay. So what I can do, this is an instance. If you guys want, you can actually, I'll detach this one. Let's create this as a component. You guys can practice on this one.
Okay.
Like you can let me know who else is practicing. I can create more components. Like these are two different components. Okay. So if anyone else is joining in, they can take care of this one.
Yeah.
So you can just follow along. Like for the text properties, you can obviously define text. For description, you can define text. Along with the text, you can have the Boolean property show and hide one as well. Okay.
Okay. So we're selecting the text.
Select it. Yeah.
And then make it. Oh, it's already a component. So I'm just gonna go into Boolean property.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Show. Okay. We need some music, some lo-fi music in the background as we work.
Not
Or
at my end.
Or you could just stream on the side of your piano and just fill in the gaps.
Yeah, next time I'll bring my ukulele.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll give it a go after, because I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I can see Zara's giving it a go, so very proud of you, Zara. I'm not gonna put you on the spot, just watching you work, which is amazing. Somebody anonymous is here as well. Maybe they can help me.
Like if you see on my card, if you click on it, you'll get a list of properties on the right side.
Oh, so, show image, show title.
Yeah. And just against that, you can see icons changing as well, right? The I is like for the Boolean property, T is for the text one, and the hollow diamond is for the swap instance one, right? Whenever we create the instance of this, we'll get different properties on the right side. If you click on this one, that will show you some toggle buttons, some content boxes, and there is a swap button as well. So yeah, you can utilize those. You can make changes from here itself instead of touching the design element.
Perfect. Oh, Carmia's here. Hi, Carmia. Awesome.
Are you guys done on this one? Okay, I can see there is a.
Yeah, I've
Great.
done some of it, but
That's great. That's great. So I feel now you guys are comfortable with the Boolean property, right?
I think I am. The swap thing,
Yeah.
I have to practice a bit more, but the Boolean is good. Like, I know how to show and hide things. The swap, I have to rewatch the replay, which everyone can do as well on YouTube. What's the next one?
Shall we? Okay. So next one is the exposed nested instances. I can skip this one. You guys allow me. like it's a bit complicated one. So it basically tells you like if you see here, right? This feature was not there in Figma. Like I think it just came in early, right? If you see like here, you can if you see the instance, right? You can have swap this between the instance. What if we have to, let's suppose that this is something, a button we are using over here. What if this have a variation? When you are having a variation of a particular component, you cannot just change it from the upper level. You have to select that particular button, and you have to get that changed. Let me show you. If you click on this plus button, here you see there's a nested instance.
Yeah.
If I click on that one, it says favorite fill. Why is it saying favorite fill? Because we can have different options for the favorite fill part. Like when I started, okay, here if I see, so nested component didn't come in. Let's do this one.
Plim, plim, plim. Invisible ukulele. Button.
So earlier it was supposed to be like if we have a button over here, okay. Earlier it was supposed to be like if you want to change this one, I need to select this one. Obviously, I cannot give you that example. I think I can give you that example if I remove this one. Not sure. Nested component. Now it says button can also be you can expose this property. So this come as a button in the downside. Can you see that?
Yep.
If I add favorite fill, so it also joins us there, right? So now we have this like button, we have property which says default, and we can have different variation as well. Earlier, what it was like when this property was not, this feature was not here, we used to, like, let's suppose we have created this particular card, right? If we want to change this button into a different variation of that component set, we have to select this button. So we have to go a bit deeper into the parent element and select that particular child element, and then only we can change it to the different variations, right? But now since the export nested instance came in, now we can do it directly from here itself. So it will show up all the instances which you can swap between the variations, right? I understand this is a bit tricky one.
Perfect. Yeah, makes sense.
This is a use case which you will anchor when you will start playing around with the instance and variation part. Like that is a bit tricky thing, I would say. But yeah, this is about the exposed nested instance. So earlier it was not, you cannot see this part over here. Now, as you add that particular exposed nested instance, you can see it. You can even hide it. Like suppose if we hide it, right? Now, I'm not getting the variation part, right? I can show and hide, but I'm not getting that. Like I can swap it with this particular variant of that. Can you see that? Can you see the difference, right?
Yeah.
And if I select on this one, right? If I select this one, then only I'm getting it. I can swap between the variants. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you are not getting that option over here. So you have to go a level down. Then only you can actually change that option. So this was about it.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it seems complicated, but it's just a matter of playing around with it, and Oh, bye, Rita. She's going. Thoroughly enjoyed the presentation. Everything seems to be easy when you explain it with your cheerful voice. There you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so this was it. This was expose nested. Moving on, like this is just a benefit of using the components and variants. I'm not sure why I keep on saying it variations. So yeah, it just reduce the number of I would say number of variants within the component set. Like with component properties, it will be possible to significantly reduce the amount of variants needed. Yeah, we skipped a D over here. Let's keep that. Okay. So yeah, a component with variants only. You have a component where it can be of pink color, it can be of with icon, without icon, it can be of red color. But if you have the property of instant swap, right, you can actually Boolean property, you can remove it and have it still, right? Even in this one, obviously it's not a component or variant as of now, but this tells you like you can even hide it from the side of the panel. Okay, you don't need to get into the design part. Okay, so yeah, I worked around this. I created this a mini, I would say, mini button system for you guys. I planned it to create with you guys as well, but what I'll do, if you see, we have a button type that says primary. It could be secondary as well. It could be we can have just text one. We can have elevated. So this is basically the button type we are talking about. Obviously, with button type can come the button state as well. It could be default, it could be hover. Let me get back to the primary one. It will make much more sense. Yeah, it's not visible that much. I didn't took care of it as I was creating it in the dark theme. In dark theme, when you create the shadows, a bit different from the when you're creating it on the lighter theme. So I did take care of that. So yeah, coming back to the primary button. So our button time is primary. And we can have a hover state, we can have a press state from the right side. You guys can just click on this and you can, just play around with the properties and create a button of your own.
Yeah.
We can,
let's do that.
Remove the icon. We can remove the CT icon. We can even change the CT icon to maybe something expand left.
So let's get all the people in our Figma file. I can see there's a couple of them. So grab your buttons. Let's do them all together, step by step. All right. This is gonna get... All right, which button should we start from? From the primary?
Anyone. You can take any button and you can, just replicate, just play around with the property. You can get any one of it.
Okay. I'm just gonna duplicate it and put it over there. Oh, awesome. Look at all those little cursors moving around. It's giving me a lot of Fig Jam vibe. All right, I'm gonna change my color because, yeah, so that I can see. All right, and so now that we duplicated it, do we just play around with the properties or do we make something with it?
I think everyone have, I'm not sure why. These are the, like if you have it here, this should come like an instance, not a component, right? So I'm not sure what you guys are doing right here.
I just duplicated it.
Oh, just copy it, paste it somewhere else, and it's supposed to paste it as an instance, not a component. This one is a component,
Yeah.
Claudia.
Let's see. I'm gonna copy, paste. Yeah, it's still,
Okay,
it's
so
still
what you are doing,
it as a component.
No. Paste it out of that component set, please. Zoom in a bit and then paste it, so you will get your instance.
Yeah, don't know why it's pasting it there. Just gonna
because your screen focusing on that particular area, right? It generally pastes on the center. So let's do one thing. Hold your Alt or Option, like if you're on Mac, click on any button, hold your Option key, just drag it out of that.
Yeah,
and
that's
it will create an
true.
instance.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Perfect. Now you can see all the properties on the right side, and
Yeah.
you can play around that.
Primary, secondary, icon, CTA. Yeah, it's nice.
And we generally don't do anything out of this to be consistent. Like I believe that we have changed the color. That's not the general practice. Just to be consistent, right? So, just wanted to mention that. Like we can use only these
Are you
buttons
telling us off?
throughout the
We're being creative.
throughout the application. I really appreciate that. That's nice.
Awesome. Well, I guess we can definitely play around with it. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Does anyone here have any questions? Or people in the chat? I know this was like a big, long event compared to our usual ones, but I also think it was super insightful. And so, Anshul, I'm very happy. Thank you so much for your presentation, because this was like a mini masterclass. And it has been kind of a similar thing with other speakers talking about design systems, because I think it's so technical and it's so kind of nerdy that it requires the right amount of time to really dive into it and understand them properly. So thank you so much for taking the time and for being here with us today and for coming back for the tokens part 2. So
Sure. Like I said, I'm really glad to be here. Like it really feels good to be do it again. Like yeah.
Yeah, and
It
now
was pretty nice
now
having.
you know how we run, so there won't be any more troubleshooting. Gabriella has a
Yeah.
question. Gabriella, what's your question?
Hi. So thank
Hello.
you for the excellent presentation. It was very clear and everything. One thing that I wanted to ask you, since it happened right now and it happened to me in the past, like if you can see, if this one is my button.
Hmm.
I tried changing the icon and the button type, so switching to the secondary button type,
Hmm.
and like the icon doesn't change color together with the text and all the other elements.
Okay, so you are saying you cannot change the color, right?
Yeah, because I think if I switch the icon back to the heart,
Hmm.
I believe it will change colors. Yeah, indeed. But as soon as I change the icon,
Hmm.
it doesn't.
Actually, I didn't get the question. So, like, the question is like you cannot change the color of any particular element.
Yeah, no, actually, no. The question is, since I had this problem when I was doing prototyping, and
Hmm.
I had different buttons with different icons, and I needed to do the hover state of each one. So I wanted to ask you what is the right how do I say
Property?
Right way to create a prototype when you hover.
yeah, how
Good
to do
question.
this in a prototype? Do you create every single variant of that button in every single color?
Look, we already have everything over here, right? Like our button,
Okay.
mini button system is already there. What we'll do, we'll have it over here. Let's do this. Okay. Now,
Okay.
what it says, let's create. Okay. We have property, right? We can start this as a start button, and we can have this. And apart from that, we can have an interaction while hovering. We can change it to something, primary button. It says like what you want to
Okay.
change into, right?
Uh-huh.
Button type. Like let's do it. I think hover color is not proper. Let's do it a pressed one, right?
Okay.
Okay. How do you want it? Instant, dissolve, or smart? Smart. There is nothing as such that will smart animate over here, but let's do
Hmm.
this. Okay. As I play it, till the time it's loading. Have you guys saw Figma recently? Like created a walking man on Figma itself.
Yes, I saw that.
Thank you so much.
That's for part 3.
That's way more complicated. I even cannot explain it. So if you see, uh, I really don't know how to pronounce the name. Really sorry for
Don't
that.
worry.
Yeah. So if you see, as we hover, the color is changing. So what's happening over here is like you already have a button, you have defined it, the hover state, press state, or disable state. You have gone to the prototyping setting. While it says while hovering, change
Mm-hmm.
this. You already have these kind of like this is the power of the actually defining the components property. Like you can have everything here itself. Earlier it used to be like you have to create different variation of it, and you have to link both the buttons, and once you hover on the first one, it goes back to it goes to the next the hover state one. Once you come out of that particular button, you have to link it again. Like that comes
Okay.
out of that, go back to the previous state or the initial state. So now it's pretty easy. Now you can just use anything. You can actually have it elevated or maybe disabled. Like whenever you hover it, it will change to that.
Okay.
Apart from this, like obviously you have the button type as well, so you can play around that. So this is the power of actually defining a system.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Well, I think it's really great, and yeah, if there's if we don't have any other questions, I feel like we can let our guest go. Like we're ever so grateful, for once again for your presentation today. As I was saying, it was a little bit of a small masterclass on design, components, which is absolutely great, and I think it has so much value, so I'm so happy that you had the chance to offer this for our community. I appreciate it a lot, and thank you so much for agreeing on coming back, for touching upon the tokens, because I want to do it properly. I want for all the girls or the audience that is following us on social media. I guess when you're starting with design, it's very, it could be disorientating. I don't even know if that's a word, Zara. I don't know, somebody proper English.
Disorientating, yeah.
Disorientating.
That's how I feel right now.
Oh, it is a word, so I didn't make it up. But yeah, it just feels like, there's so much to learn about. There's so many things, and you're just trying your way and see what works. So what I'm trying to do with these focused events every month, I want to kind of create a path, a roadmap. If you're starting off with design, if this is your first time, or you're starting off with Figma, these are best practice. This is what you need to do it properly. And so, because we didn't have that when we started, for all the future designers that will come, it's nice to have a clear path to follow. And it's amazing to have experts like you who take their time to kind of come here and explain and share their knowledge with us. Yeah. Well, then.
Thank you so much for having me, Claudia. We'll definitely touch base on the token part as well.
Yeah, maybe not next week,
then...
maybe the one after, because next week I'm gonna be in the US, so off-site. But maybe the one after we can chat about it and we can find a day.
Sure, we can do that. Just one thing I really want to leave you guys with: the more you play around on Figma, obviously it will help you understand more, because just having these classes are not going to help it. Like obviously it's not a school, right? We are young adults now. In school we used to do homework just because teacher used to say it, or maybe my parents were was not that much strict, but still we used to do it just for the sake of doing it, right? If you really love design, if you're curious about it, then only you can actually make really big into this. Trust me, it's just a tip of the iceberg. We haven't actually touched anything. You guys have I'm not sure if you guys have gone through any kind of design system. If you see material, UI, I think there is there are big companies, I'm forgetting the name. Uber also have their design system. Atlassians also have it. Obviously there is human guideline interface from alias as well. If you go through these design systems, or like the guidelines, right, it's so huge, it's super huge. You cannot actually gather that maybe in an year, right? So it's a very long process. Just keep hustling, be curious, and trust me, like we'll all find a way through.
Mm-hmm. 100%. And, you know, at the end of our series, what I want to do is for us to create, no, I mean, not us, but just like our community. I don't want to take any more of your time, but at the end of our sessions, you know, when we finally wrap up this whole topic, I want for our community to get together and create our own Fluxys design system for future projects. So that would be nice.
Lovely, lovely.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Anshul, once again for being here. Have a lovely night, I believe. And for everyone else here at Fluxys, I will see you not next week, but the one after, as I will be away. But I will also see some of you tomorrow during our Webflow meetup. So yeah, excited to meet you again. And yeah, I'll see you on Discord as well. You know, join our Discord. We're active 24/7. At least I am. All right. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.